everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Mental Health Corner by Grey Insights. I am Stacy, and on today's episode we'll be discussing about the ongoing issue of gender-based discrimination and violence. Stay tuned. Hello again and welcome to today's edition of the Mental Health Corner with Grey Insights. Today we'll be discussing the ongoing issue of gender-based discrimination and violence. I am Stacy and this is the beautiful Taiwo.
Hi, hello.
The very elegant Melissa.
Hey.
Our very pretty Bolaji. And of course, the man here, the only man here, Adewumi. I feel like all of us here have one or more experiences with being discriminated against or judged unjustly just because of our gender. Can we give our experiences?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, definitely we can actually share experiences. I mean, you know, it might not have been a personal experience here, but we've had friends, we've had neighbors, we've had colleagues, we've had to meet with people that have actually been faced with all of these things one way or the other. They might not even be people within our age range. It might be people that are even way older than us, right? You know, but by the time we get to meet with them and we hear their experiences and they get to share the stories, it is very sometimes it has to be very traumatizing. I'll give an experience, not a personal experience though, but a friend of mine. Growing up, my dad happens to be a military personnel, a military officer that he tends to be carried to different states, right, in Nigeria to work. And then so during the holidays, maybe during the long vacations, we tend to travel to visit with him, especially in the north, right, in the north. And fortunately, when I was in primary school then, I happened to have traveled down to the north to visit my dad for the vacation with my siblings. And on getting there, I made few friends, and I can for sure say that I made a particular friend that was very welcoming and very, you know, she was so loving and caring. You know, at my tender age till now, I can still remember how she looks like. I can still remember her voice. I can still remember how beautiful and how free-spirited she was, right, back then. And then we grew, and whenever we go for the holidays, she was always there to teach me about their cultures and all of that. Well, I could remember that the next holiday we had to go back to visit my dad, that she was no longer there. And when I had to start asking questions, where's my friend, why is she no longer here, I got to know that she had been married off. Of course, we are all aware of the early marriage that happens, especially in the north, right? She had been married off, and I'm like, okay, can I go and see her? And then bear it in mind, I was still in primary school, and I was like a year older or 2 years older than her, and I was like, okay, she's married off, okay, quite, okay, I cannot, yeah, but then I could still relate that, okay, how could somebody that I was a year older than I was in primary school would be married off, and okay, where is she staying? Okay, she married off to another far away northern state.
And to some people, this is very normal. Like,
to them, it is their normal.
Yeah. So it may sound strange. Like, why would a child be married off? And it's probably to an older person.
Yeah, to a very much older person. I'm a very inquisitive person. Yeah, I got to ask questions. That, okay, why did this happen? Okay, how will she, evolve from being a young girl to a lady? The childhood dreams and all, and they said that she would go through stages of, she has co-wives that are way older than her that will put her through, she will experience all of this. So, which means that in her husband's house, married at a very young age, it is in her husband's house she will get to experience her first menstrual cycle.
That's true.
Her husband's house she will get to understand how her body works, her system works. It's in her husband's house she will know how to become a woman. This is something that we are educated, we got to learn it from our parents' homes. We got to learn it with joy, with celebration and love and all, but they are not opportune to go through all of these things. So
let me give this example of how culture also play a role in this gender discrimination. There was a time I was with some young children and the boy mentioned that he was just saying it's like, oh, I learned that girls should respect boys, that boys are superior than girls. I'm like, okay, who taught you that? So I tried to bring him back to understanding the place of individuality, that okay, as you are a man, this person is a girl. There's no need of saying, oh, this one is superior than I am. And, or even from 7 years, they were 7 years, and it was saying that mindset that the female gender is inferior to the male, and the male is the super person. And I feel these are examples of how this gender discrimination comes in. Culture as a way of making the girl child feel like inferior.
And that's why I actually agree with what Bolaji just said now. That's why it is very advisable to create a safe space for both boys and girls, you know, even from their tender age, even from the home, because they say the home is the first institution, right, that a child is being groomed, right? So even from the home, parents should be able to make their children, both female and male, understand that you guys are equal, right? What your sister can do, you can also do. So if you are grown as a man to also assist, not just okay, this one is only for your sister. You just sit down and be watching TV while your sister is cooking, she's sweating, she's doing all of this at home. When we create that safe space from our home, when we create that mentality, when we groom them up from that young and tender age, they tend to grow up with that mindset, and whenever they come in contact with ladies and girls, they don't tend to treat them as inferior people, right? They tend to respect them and give them that, that due respect that they deserve.
Yes, and I also
well, to buttress what both of you have said, growing up in the North, I experienced this firsthand, where my neighbors would ask me that why are my elder sisters not married yet? Now it got to a particular point where I visited a hospital. Now that hospital is called Mariam Sani Abacha Foundation in Sokoto State. Now that foundation was set up because of the girl child who were married off and developed VVF.
VVF, exactly.
Now once they developed VVF, their families install a taboo on them that they are probably cursed or they are defected human beings. So they are abandoned and stigmatized until they probably run into a good Samaritan who's willing to take them to a foundation to get treated. Now, this gender discrimination bias is reinforced by culture. I don't feel culture is just a part of it. I feel it's reinforced when you have false, and it's all over the nation. You have parts of southern Nigeria where women are not allowed to own landed property.
I'm talking about the cultural norms. What about situations in family meetings that a woman cannot be there because her opinions do not matter?
Yes, she doesn't even have a say.
Except, and they won't even allow a single woman without a husband. Like, what do you know?
Yes,
even married women, they will not allow her to be in
religious setups.
Religious setups.
They will say women are not meant to be on the pulpit and all of that. All of these things are
political setups too. Women will not hold higher position because what do a woman want?
And in fact, it's until for the political settings, the women you see with political government appointments were validated by male counterparts who are not even half as good as they are. Now, for instance, we have some of the best women during the Obasanjo regime. I'm non-partisan. We have Dora Queen.
Yes.
We have Obi Ezekwesili. The World Bank Mama, what's her name? I can't remember. And these women have proven to be better than most of their male counterparts over the course of since 1999 till date. That's 2 decades plus. Now also, if you look at it, it's a kind of way where you see that culture is not only the major predisposing factor. You see religion playing a role. You also see stereotypical conservative ideas of African parents who say, sorry, I'm speaking about my female daughter must not be a lawyer. A lawyer doesn't have good marriage. Oh, my son must be a doctor. You must be. So we can break this vicious circle by unlearning useless cultural norms, by unlearning, because it's a nature-nurture controversy. When over the years, over the generations, you've been told this is a woman's place, this is a man's place. For instance, now you have men who are uncomfortable that their wives earn more than they do.
I've seen that. I've seen that happen.
I've had situations where I had to actually resolve conflicts that were not there just because the man had a stereotypical view that a man should earn.
And if it hurts his ego.
Exactly.
I've seen that actually happen, play out in the life of a neighbor I used to have. So the woman was an air hostess, and he was like somebody who works on the internet, all this forex stuff and things like that. So she had a steady stream of income that was coming in, and he didn't.
Was based on.
So
increase.
So he always, there were times when he came into my house, she came into my house and she was screaming and shouting that her husband was going to kill her because he was fighting with her, that she was pompous and she was rude and stuff like that. And then after my parents were ones who settled the matter between the two of them. So it turned out the crux of the whole matter was that she was earning more. And
So
he felt
these
that
things are everywhere. But we have to start learning that seeing the status quo, that this is how things are. You have to start questioning it. Why should an infant be married to a 70-year-old
Oh my
man?
God.
Why should
We should start questioning.
why should I be given a job based on the fact that I'm a man and I know that man who knows that
Now
man?
make it a point to be seen, to be heard, right?
We have to work more times harder.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe you want to get a
Ourselves.
particular
Yeah.
job. You're a lady. I don't even know if you can do
cope?
this job.
I'm
Can you cope at all? Do you have the strength? Why do we have to? But if it's a guy now, you have that strength to carry it. So you understand, right? So I feel it's a whole lot, right? And the question is, if we are saying we need to start learning these things, right? Are people ready?
Now people change
People from the grassroots, people from the from rural areas that are not open to probably informations, news, social medias, and all of that.
People will not be ready, but the only thing that is constant is change.
That's true.
You see artists being called out for being racist.
That's true.
You see artists getting cancelled. Their shows getting cancelled for making comments that were biased or somehow offensive. Now we have to bring that culture back here. We have to be extra sensitive. I know it's not African, it's not Mali, it's not Nigerian, but for us to be able to survive the next few centuries without eroding the girl child, you just have to start making this change.
Also, men and boys' involvement, like what Bolaji said about the notion of female are inferior to male. If we start training our male children and change that narrative that one gender is more superior to the other. Yes.
And children also find a way of staying. For instance, I had like someone who was telling me that he saw that the daughter mentioned that women are supposed to stay at home while the man is supposed to work. So the daughter verbalized it. So that was when it caught his attention that so my daughter is already seeing this play out in the house, so I need to immediately let her know that no, it's not like that. If the situation is like this in our home right now, we don't want it, but so he wants to change it. So parents can find a way of like enlightening the children and letting them know that you are a male, but you both have capacity, just like we have said before.
I also feel it still falls on religious leaders. Now, you can see the mobilization effort religious leaders put into the last 2023 general elections in Nigeria. If they can put 1/3 of that energy into their message.
Truly, because I really agree with what you just said now. I saw I think there was a post or something. I forgot who posted that on social media, where the person was like that. The the amount at which the people that women literally spend their money on. I don't know if you guys saw that, right? That pastors, voodoo, and all of that. Surely, so if this same knowledge, right, is coming from these religious leaders that you just spoke about, right, they will be very like an amount of positive impact that it will make, because most of our people are women, are men, and all of that. They have people that they look up to in these religious factors, that are role models, and they hear them coming out to say these things, and they are seeing them acting towards it, right? Because they see them as role models and exemplary leaders, they will want to also enact it.
Yes.
Because Esther was making an illustration one day, and she said, that she said while growing up, she saw her mom doing something, a very, very simple thing, which made me agree with what Paula just said. She said she saw her mom while growing up. If her mom is cooking, when her mom wants to cook Maggi, her mom finished putting the Maggi, she will now use water and wash her hand inside the soup. Consciously or unconsciously, while growing up, she learned it too. So while she's cooking, she will put the Maggi inside the soup and she'll be washing her hands. Why is the time you are cooking? She said, I don't even know, but I learned it from my mom. So you see, right, things as children, we pick things a lot. We have younger ones, we have our siblings' children that comes home to spend holidays with us, and they get to pick anything you do. That sometimes when you just say, people like, she was shaking me since I wait, what I just did this thing right now. Okay, I did this thing last week, and so if we know that they pick things so fast, we need to caution ourselves and know how to teach them right, so that when they grow up, they will not become nuisance. And
I want to shake the table vigorously.
Please do.
My upbringing was conservative. Now I was the product of two pastors. Now, these two pastors, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Now, this don't do this, don't do that. I was the odd one out who would always go, why?
I want to try that. You're the black.
Tell me why.
Now, if we are able to encourage our children to ask
questions,
don't just accept it. The sky is blue because
why?
Why is it blue?
Be ready to answer.
Now we should also be able to have that same boldness with our religious leaders. Now, these religious leaders are comfortable receiving tithes and offerings from women, but are not comfortable to have them as ministers, are not comfortable to have them as regional pastors, are not comfortable to have them as church leaders. Right.
And also not comfortable, most times, we have women leaders in all these organizations or settings and all of that. But most times, there are so many women that are actually hurting,
deep down.
They've gone through physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse and all of that. But they come to church and just act like everything is normal, because they look at you and say, if I do,
what will people say?
What will people say? Do you understand? These are part of the abuse that so many people go through, and they just come out and fake it up with a smile, but they are dying inside. And that's why you see that we get to just wake up one morning and say, somebody has died. What happened? The husband just beat her. That beating is not just daddy. It has been a constant thing that has been happening, but because they don't have anybody to speak with, they don't have anybody to talk. So there should also be a space whereby, like an avenue whereby they have somebody they can reach out to talk to. I really feel that is very, very important.
Also shaking that table. Women don't work well with women.
What did you say? Women don't work.
Women don't work well.
Okay, so I've been in a church whereby every Sunday, I'm not going to mention the church, the name of the church, but every Sunday they always, part of their announcement is that there's a office like that is open 24 hours for counseling, to see a psychologist, to see a psychiatrist or a therapist. So if you are going through anything, be rest assured that it is very confidential, and we are here to hear you out, to listen to you, right? So you might not, and the most amazing and beautiful part of psychotherapy now that we have now is that you have the right to actually say, okay, I don't want to speak to a male, I want to speake to a female. I don't want to speak to a female, I want to speak to a male, right? I don't want to even speak to my pastor, I don't want to speak to anybody that knows me. Do you understand? So that's the beauty, and yes, that's the beauty of what psychotherapy entails.
If we plug the whole of the religious space that our clerics and our clergymen need to do better, so what are we going to say about our cultural space in terms of female genital mutilation, for instance?
FGM is something that, you know, there are so many, not even only in Nigeria, African.
It's African.
Yes, it's an
Continental.
African
culture. It's part of the culture.
So I was reading a particular article recently, and it took me off guard because I was like, so such things still happen, right? And there's a lady that is a survivor that happens to be bringing survivors now from those African countries into the UK, right? When they come, she make sure she gets to know them and, you know, get help for them. It's quite unfortunate that such practices is still happening, and when you ask for the reason and for the cause, they say it's to curb promiscuity, to curb you being promiscuous, or to get pregnant on time, or to follow, you know, so many unrealistic reasons why such a thing should happen.
He came as a prediction store. She recently gave birth to a daughter. Her daughter is probably top now. So, and the last time I went home, I noticed that the daughter was limping. I was like, Kilo Shoma, what happened to your daughter? I was like, she share bed for me.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
in this recent time.
yes. And I was like, the biscuits I had in my mouth soured. Like, sincerely, I know I shouldn't say this, but I felt like hitting her in the head with baseball bat. Because that girl was in pain, and I looked at her and she was like, I was in tele. And I'm like,
maybe situations like this, maybe preferring another method. I know what they want to curb is prostitution. They want to curb promiscuity amongst the children as they are growing up, and maybe creating awareness of other options instead of hurting the children. What about the long-term effect of this particular thing?
They might not be able to even give birth on their own. You know, so many things. Sexually transmitted infection due to the loss of sexual drive. They don't even have that pleasure because of the pain. Most of them experience pain during sexual activity.
And
probably when they get married. Yes, that trauma affects them for life. So, and I don't feel that, you know, if we come to think of it, you know, when I think about what you said, that we as children should learn to ask why. Because even as adults, they should learn to ask why. If you are saying that it is a cultural thing, at Loshisha, Befum and all of that, if they want to bring that to your family or to your daughter, you should be able to ask why. Why do you want to do this to my child? This is the 21st century, if I'm not mistaken, that, you know, our eyes are open. We know that these things have a long-term effect, you know, on our children, but we still, you know, foolishly, I'm sorry to say, do all of these things.
It just goes to show, we are about to say awareness, it just goes to show that as mental health practitioners, we've not done enough. We need to go to the grassroots, not just do NGO, mental health for life. Mental health. No, you actually have to reach the
and that's where media representation comes in. Because most people get their information from the media.
Life.
So
now they have to put, this guy goes to school. I don't.
You see Ali and Simbi. Simbi is cooking with her mom, and Ali is watching.
Exactly. Those illustrations. Why is it that it's the male child that is going to watching his father?
And then I want us to address this toxic masculinity. Yes, like I think that first thing we talked about, that men seeing women as inferior
objects.
Yes, also empowers them to feel like a woman is someone that I can empower and put down. So we might say personality is there, like the growing up of the male child too. But at the same time, addressing it now, using this platform as a way of addressing it, I feel men should also know that, like we've been saying since morning, that every woman being on it, both male and female, they are unique, and it's not a good thing to see that women are the female gender is the gender to be trampled upon and dominated. And dominated. So I feel with this platform, for male that maybe they are having issues, maybe anger issues, not because they want to be toxic, there's help for them. There's help for them. Yes, they should reach out. I remember I had an experience with a client that had such experience, and he reached out. He felt really bad that he could even do that to his partner. So I feel if men should man up.
Yeah, we should actually normalize speaking about that.
Yes, because men, most of the
They
things
bottle up a lot of emotions and explode on their partner.
Yes.
So men has weakness the same way female easily admit to their weakness. I feel some of the things men shield over and say, oh, this how I will do it, I'll not talk about it. That thing is really.
And when you see that you push to a certain limit and there's definitely
So
no
you become
respect.
frustrated.
Not that you become frustrated, there's a place of you respecting that space
The
for that
boundary,
minute
yes.
or for that hour, you let him cool off. You know some guys, it's when you are saying what happened, what happened.
As a man, let me not give you
now. That's when you know that. Yes, that's when you know them. They tend to now transfer the whole aggression. When you that you are just even trying to calm them down.
Yes.
Babe,
Now, see,
are you fine? Are you cool? Are you okay? What's wrong? Talk to me.
I agree.
Talk to me up to 100 times.
If he does not want to talk to you, now let me give you solution.
Okay.
Be cool.
Okay, bro.
Because you are my bros now.
Oh, yeah.
Let me now give you the solution. Now, when he is married only, PG 18.
Married.
Now, when he's leave me, I'm good.
Okay.
He's always going to come to request for the cookie. Now, when he wants to get the cookie, I hope we understand what I mean by that.
Sure.
When he wants to, I know you will not understand. When he now wants to request for the cookie, he'll be like, hey, Sibi, you know to talk that. Like, Sibi, I was asking.
So we use it as a leverage. So we use it as a leverage.
Now we say, I'll come here. I'm like, I'll come and I'll be a lot of food. Sibi, that's
Kini.
The rapport will definitely come up if you play around it.
Okay, for single men now, I've had a conversation with guys where they would be like, well, I'm top dog. I don't have to. What's the point of talking about my feelings? Talking my feelings will not get anything done. Or like real men don't talk about their feelings. I've had a full 1 hour 30-minute discussion with a particular guy who said men don't talk about their feelings, period.
Use the word real men.
And then he will now go
about feelings.
and he will now go and quote people from the internet. There's a particular guy on the internet called Andrew Tate who is notorious for that particular behavior.
But Andrew Tate is also trying to take some bullets for him. Not all bullets, don't kill me. Andrew Tate has some points, but his masculinity is toxic.
Yes.
And he has agreed
and
that
he's misogynistic.
yes, he has agreed that he has overstepped some of his opinions. Now, as a psychologist, I believe that everyone is entitled to their own opinion, no matter how harmful or offensive it may sound. Also, it is a reflection of a personality or a deep-rooted trauma.
Truly. I wanted to say that, right? Because
So Andrew Tate, not shaking any tables, scientifically, Andrew Tate must have been through some life issues that he's just trying to use. So people like Andrew Tate now that say a lot of masculine stuff is coming from a place of pain. Now women have been socialized by norms, by tradition, by culture, by education to be the stronger gender. To not, even by religion. The man came first, this, that. So now you have to understand that a man, the way a boy child is trained is if you have a cut on your hand, why are you crying? Don't you know you're a man? Don't you know you're a man? When you hit your leg on the stone, you want to cry. If I slap you, you fall down, as you trip and fall down as a child. Oh yeah, stand up. You're not a strong boy. You're a bastard. Now it has been yes. Now they have taught us to suppress our emotions. They've taught us to bottle up things. The African society has basically taught us to be toxic. Now if you are saying that we should not show emotion, how won't it affect even if we no longer discriminate gender, there's no gender-based violence or discrimination. If you raise a proper lady who is the best
Prim and proper.
to now go and marry someone who is toxic and
You've ruined that.
you've just ruined all the work
yes,
we did
all
on the
the
girl child.
training.
So we have to normalize that. Okay, men also need to talk about feelings. We are human beings too.
But a way to normalize that is creating safe space for
It's
men.
because men don't want to feel vulnerable.
Because of the childhood experience of them having to man up to certain things
Exactly.
and not to open up. They should just swallow it up and bottle it up. So now when they marry a lady that has been trained to be prim and proper and be decent
Speak
and all of
out.
that, they tend to pour out all those anger and frustration.
Wow.
So when something is not working out, when a man's car, that's why you see road rage now. You see a man is with
That's where
throwing
an
punches.
outlet to pour out all that anger.
You've not been taught how to talk about those things that are bothering you. So you tend to want to be aggressive. So now men should learn to seek help. We should normalize it that okay, you have issues, seek help. You are not gay if you seek help.
Oh my
You are
God,
not-
yes.
You are not- Yes, you are not.
That's a whole thing.
It's a thing with men that are.
Too many men rather bottle it in than take therapy.
Men would actually use drugs than actually talk to
Mm.
people.
Yes, but why would I do therapy?
That's true.
Why do I need
Thank you for
therapy? Am I not
mentioning
a
that
man?
aspect. So you see men taking alcohol to numb pain
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to just forget
Now
what
when they get drunk, by the time they sleep and wake up the next morning, they would have forgotten about what
But
happened.
the problem comes back to
It's a cycle again. You go back to that drink
Yeah.
or
And they
outlets
become
like
addicts
narcotics
to all
or
of those
something.
things.
Yes.
Now, see, you cannot solve a problem by using a problem to solve a problem. To just end this whole issue of the men so that nobody shakes the table. Now, I want to give you an illustration. True life story. Okay, when my dad died over 18 years ago, we were at his funeral. I was like the last child. So, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Poured in the sand. Tears was flowing from my eyes, and a family member, I was I came again, I repeated Masuku, Shokurin, Shibi Okurin. Like, I don't know how I will go to school again. My father just, they are telling me to say Shokurin.
Like your sort of learning
like there's a need for mental health
Exactly.
for
That whole, the culture, the politics, the religious fair, everything needs to be overhauled.
Yeah.
We have to seek for help as men.
Yes.
And as women,
to balance it out.
Yeah, if you are going through gender-based violence, probably an abuse with your spouse, I feel you should not bottle things up. You should not just keep on taking all of those things. You should speak out and speak to somebody, get help before it turns out to be your death sentence and all of that. And as parents also, just as we said earlier, we should learn to actually have a home and bring up children that they will understand the importance of
Gender
equality
You
at
understand at home, from home, because when they have that knowledge of gender equality from home, they are able to balance it even amidst their friends, amidst their colleagues, down to when they start getting into relationships and start getting married. Yes, you understand.
So start growing up with the idea of I'm not inferior to anybody.
And then as motivations, they can see women leaders that we have. I'm a woman,
Yes.
I'm a psychologist, I can be anything.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
I can be anything.
Women can be anything.
A female president. We all have a role to play. So we should not just normalize it to being only to a particular sex, right? Probably the male factor. We should not normalize it to just bring it to them. We should also create opportunities whereby women can also have a voice, speak out, and make that change and impact, because they all have a lot to offer. Our roles goes beyond the kitchen and the hustle room.
Yes. Environment builds us. I just remembered something now. Female military officers. What made them to become? Why were they not timid? You see female there to they
Pilot
can carry
officers, yes,
guns.
ammunitions and all
Yeah,
of
so
that.
if you're exposed to what trains you, the potentials in you will really come out.
Yeah.
In conclusion, we all have a role to play in promoting gender equality and creating a world where women are valued and respected.
Wow.
Thank you for tuning into our episode, and thank you so much for contributing. It was a beautiful episode.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Don't forget to drop a comment on this episode, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.